Hey guys, and welcome back. So first of all, I apologize for the sound. We have officially moved from our location, so bear with us. But today we are going to do a video on something a lot of you guys have been asking for quite some time.
Long time coming.
A very long time coming. And that is mine and Heath's background, kind of how we got started in the business. And then, as the title says, it is a bittersweet farewell to our first shoe repair location, and we will be moving very soon.
So what, kick this back to around 2010, 11, 12?
Yeah, so, well, I mean, I guess we can start off how we kind of grew up.
Yeah, okay, go back a little further. So we originally from Georgia, and our dad had joined the Air Force. And when I was in the first grade, you were going into third grade, he went active duty. From there, we took our first trip down to Tyndall Air Force Base and Panama City, Florida. And that kind of began our travels abroad and kind of get to see a different world out there.
Yeah, so when we start talking about our sandals in a previous video, and we talked about our travels, yeah, I mean, from that point on, we lived in Panama City, Florida. We lived in Key West, Florida. We've lived throughout the U.S. We lived in Europe, lived in Japan.
Yep.
So we kind of, traveled all over the world and kind of
spent a lot of time in, along the coast in Italy. So kind of got a lot of influence from there. But that pretty much took us all the way up until college age.
Yeah.
And we decided to come back to the States and go to school. You'd actually already been in school for a while and came over to travel in Asia.
Yeah.
And so then
Heath and I went back to college, and we went to the University of Tennessee. If you've ever seen some of our stuff around, our hats or whatever we may have had in videos, we are both University of Tennessee Knoxville grads. So yeah, big Vol fans. After that, Heath and I both moved to Nashville, where we've been ever since. And we're not going to date ourselves too much, but we've been here for a while. And
started, like most people straight out of college, started working jobs that we didn't really have a degree, like, we're going to go to law school or med school or something like that. So we started kind of working with, different companies and whatnot. But during the process, I guess about the same time, I had started to take an interest in shoemaking. And it actually, it's kind of funny that we're making a YouTube video, because I saw a YouTube video of a shoe being made. I don't know where it was, where it was taking place, but I've always been the creative type. I like to work with my hands and pattern making and things like that. So
if there's a machine around here that breaks, Heath is the one that fixes it. We get a lot of guys asking, how old are your machines? Who fixes them? This is your guy. I mean, if you want to come up with a concept or come up with a design for something or have a machine fixed, he's always been the one that does that. So yeah, like he said, he started making shoes. And
yeah, I said, I can do that. And so I got on eBay and started. After we've had people ask, hey, where do you find this stuff? Get on eBay and just start scouring, go to flea markets, whatever. And started collecting tools. And I remember I made my first pair of shoes. I still have this first pair of shoes, and I'll show them sometime.
Yeah. And we've got a couple pictures you probably see here of some of the shoes that Heath has made over the years. Everything from loafers to cap toe Oxfords to
ballet flats,
chukka boots.
Yeah.
Well, just going back, I mean, yeah, he was doing that, and then you, while you're doing that as a hobby, you were
I was a teacher. Yeah, I went back to grad school, and I've always had a passion for history, and you could probably see that in some of our videos. But I wanted to go back and teach what I loved, and during that process, I just, picked it up on the weekends and started learning to make shoes. But at the kind of around that same time, on the other side of town, Trent's working for different corporations.
Yeah.
And kind of.
So I was in the corporate world, and I was more so, Nashville has a really big healthcare field. So I was kind of in the healthcare corporate side of things, and worked for several companies. And, you know, I'm more of the entrepreneurial type. So I always knew deep down that, you know, I had to do what I had to do to pay my bills. So I had, you know, always worked full-time job. But deep down, I always knew, you know, I want to get out of here. I want to start my own company. And
he gets claustrophobic in a cubicle.
Yeah. Just, you know, I'm one of those guys. I work well. I've always been a hard worker. Employers like me, but man, deep down in the back of my head, I was trying to figure out how can I get out of here? How can I do something that I want to do? And so, yeah, while Heath was teaching and making shoes, I looked around, and we always had dry cleaners that came to our building or our buildings and would pick up people's dry cleaning. Well, we're both shoe guys. So I would look around, and for a lot of you guys out there, especially you executives and whoever, definitely take care of your shoes. And again, that's the reason we started this channel. But
the suits would be all nice and pressed and everything, shirts starched and all that, and then the shoes just look
people look great. You know, it looks great if your shirt and your pants look great, but man, your shoes, golly, I can't tell you how many people I saw walk around with just scuffed up shoes and literally had never ever shined a shoe. So I'm sitting there in my office and I'm thinking, boom, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a pickup and delivery shoe shine business to correlate with or coincide with the dry cleaners. So that's what I did. And we actually called it Southern Polished, which is now our sandal brand. But I started Southern Polished. I went out. We got the van for like $2,000. It was an old beat up van, but
had no AC in it.
Yeah, had no AC. And then I would go around during my lunch breaks and drive all over Nashville. Heath would help out. He would leave his teaching job on lunch and drive to north of Nashville, and I'd go to south. You know, my wife would pick up shoes. My mom and dad would leave and go pick up shoes. And we literally started getting more and more corporate buildings around Nashville that wanted to do shoe shines. So we'd get those shoes, we'd come back at night, we'd take them to my house, and we would shine shoes for people down in my my garage.
Which was filled up with an old Mustang that he got when he was 16.
Yeah.
So it literally became like a shoe rack because it'd just be covered with shoes.
Yeah, and I'll look, it may have a picture here, but yeah, so I have a 65 Mustang I got when I was 16, a long time ago, and it needs a lot of work. But yeah, like Heath said, there were shoes, literally, we just sit them all on top of my car. And the next day or 2 days later, we'd deliver the shoes back, and that just that's how things started. And then I started getting questions for customers saying, hey, do you do shoe repair too? Well, at the time, I didn't repair shoes. You know, like I said, I was doing my corporate gig. So, you know, I came home to my wife, and she said, you need to tell them absolutely you do shoe repair, and just find somebody that will do them for you. So there was a guy here in Brentwood, Tennessee.
In this shop?
Yep, the same shop we're in now, from
Belarus.
Mm-hmm. And he'd been here for like 25 years, came straight from Belarus over to America, and pretty much came into this shop, and that's how he made a living. So I got with him one day, and I asked him if he could, hey, do you mind if I bring you shoes to be repaired? And, you know, you just give me a little give you a little off the top, and you know, I'd make some money and return them back to the customers. Well, we did that for maybe 3-4 months.
Yeah.
It wasn't very long at all. And then it got around the spring of 2014, and the guy told me he wanted to retire. He'd been doing this a long time, he was tired, and he asked if we wanted to buy the business. So I was ecstatic. I mean, to me, I'm like, boom, let's do this, let's buy this business. You know, everything I've always wanted to do, I want to be my own boss. It's sitting here on a platter. How are we going to do it? So I remember we were eating Mexican one night and at a Mexican restaurant, and we went off with our parents, and
we pitched the idea to them.
Yeah, our dad was retired out of the Air Force. He'd been in the military for about 30 something years by that point, and he was here as a vice president for a company. And we just said, hey, can you help us? You know,
we bought him an extra beer before.
Yeah, and we got him nice and, you know, boozed up beforehand. And, you know, it was really our mom that we had to win over.
Yeah, really,
our dad, you know, it was on with it. But they came on, and they kind of helped us out a little bit financially on it, and we bought the business. And like I said, this business had been here for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
So it already had a big book of business, It's in Brentwood, which is a very affluent part of Nashville. So the money was here, and that's a big part of when you guys are asking, hey, how'd you get started? You know, it's important that when you're buying a cobbler shop that you kind of look at what your surrounding area is. So of course, the more affluent the area, the nicer the shoes you're going to have. It just seems to be the way it kind of is. So we lucked out and we bought the business.
Yep.
And then it just kind of, Heath quit his job first because you were the one that knew about shoes. So he came in and he started, and
I had to basically cover that first summer, and then I guess you would come on.
Yeah.
You would come on next.
So you came in June.
Yep.
We bought the place in June 2014, and I quit my job in August of 2014 because Heath said, you know, I literally can't do this anymore by myself. It's just getting overwhelming. So then I quit a few months later, came on, and then
Dad retired.
Our dad was retired. Well, he quit his job, and he came and started working in October of that year, and we literally were that busy. And I think what made us so different, and again, for a lot of you guys that are wanting to start businesses or, you know, buy old businesses out, you want to add something that makes your brand better. And our shoe repair shop, when we bought this place, was just an absolute dive. I mean, for the nice area that we're in, it was an old building. It was an old building. It looks like you blow on it one time, the building's going to blow over.
Yeah, we couldn't bring any more machinery in here because we were afraid it would fall through the floor. So.
Yeah. So what we wanted to do was, you know, a lot of barber shops out there are kind of hearkening back to the old days, and they're making barber shops, you know, more manly and have the dark colors and the lighting, and I was like, well, why can't we just do the same thing for shoe repair? You know, I mean, every shoe repair shop I go to, they just always kind of look dingy and worn down and dirt everywhere. And I was like, nobody wants to come around that stuff, you know? So we made it nice. We painted the building. Our logo had to be cool. We wanted to make it look like, you know, if you're going to be in an affluent area and you're going to try to attract guys that have John Lobbs and Allen Edmonds and Churches and Crockett and Jones or whatever, you want to make it look like a place that they want to bring those shoes. So that's kind of what we did. And then we started off, we wanted to put shoe shine chairs in our shop.
We built those shoe shine chairs too. You can see the picture. But yeah, we built those, and we had people coming in just like, it almost became a hindrance because people were coming in just all the time. Guys thinking it was cool to just be able to get up there during their lunch break, and or you'd have guys who would say, hey, I got to meet with a client, and both of them would come in there and just get up on the chair and they'd talk business while we shine their shoes. But it became a hindrance because we couldn't find anybody to shine shoes, so we'd have to stop our work from repairing shoes, go out there and shine the shoes.
And the good thing was our dad would always work the front. He is like a people person. So if you guys have ever called into our shop and you've got Norm, that's our dad, and I mean, he can talk to anybody. He's like the salesman. So he would stand out front and he would always help the customers while Heath and I were back here trying to work on shoes. But yeah, to Heath's point, it felt like the door was always opening to the back, and our dad would be like, hey, we got a couple guys out here need shoe shine. So Heath and I would put our stuff down, go out there, do a shoe shine. And I know some of you guys are like, why didn't you just hire somebody? Well, I felt like the shoe shine chairs were a cool idea, but it wasn't steady enough flow to hire somebody to come do that. And even if we tried to find certain hours, like, okay, we'll just do shoe shines at Monday morning, it just never really worked out. It was a cool concept.
It was. It just...
Yeah. The chairs looked awesome.
It did.
But it wasn't going to go.
But we wound up selling those chairs to another guy who was wanting to open up a really cool barber shop. Yeah. And so they're still in the industry.
Yeah. So the chairs are gone, and at about that same point in time was when sandals, our sandal brand, started coming around.
First summer. Second summer. First summer, we learned our lesson. Hey, in the summertime, people are going on vacation. They're they're getting a little bit more casual, and so dress shoes don't really need to be resold until fall comes around. Then they start bringing them in. So business drops. We learned that lesson. The first one, second summer, we said we got to kind of head it off of the past. Let's supplement. Let's come up with an idea, and then that's when sandals kind of started coming in.
And if you haven't seen our sandal video, we'll put the link above. Definitely check it out. We kind of talk more in depth about that. But quick, rundown on that. About summertime, women especially, we're bringing in sandals every day. And you name the brand, I can say some brands right now, and I would, ladies, don't buy these brands. I'm not going to throw it out there right now. But there's just, lady sandals were just constantly a little strap coming undone, and it was always like, excuse me, can you glue this back? And I'm like, sure, I can glue this back.
And it probably won't hold.
And it's probably not going to hold, and it's going to pull out on you. It's just, I'm not a big fan of a lot of ladies' brands of sandals. So that's kind of what started the idea. We were like, we have to supplement our income during the summer. Sandals for women really weren't that great.
We live in the South.
We live in the South.
It's hot. Everybody wears sandals here. And
you always had, what's the brand? Lots of Southern women all have them.
Oh, Tory Burch. I mean, no, not Tory Burch. Jack Rogers.
Jack Rogers are huge down here. So we even had a lot of Jack Rogers that came in. I won't go there either. But to our point, we had lived in Europe and Key West and saw a lot of sandals being made there. And that's when this guy had the idea, hey, I can make a sandal, so I'm going to make a sandal. And
we can do a shoe, we can do a sandal.
Yeah, he makes shoes. It can't be that hard to make a sandal. So he started coming up with design ideas and what we wanted to do.
I started rifling through a box of scrap vegetable tan leather and just started, I got enough to make it, and I just made a prototype, just to show the guys. And it's pretty neat.
They had a lot of different variations, because what started out, your wife has most of them. The early ones.
She's got some early ones.
Yeah. And so he would make sandals. And of course, as the summers and the months go on, you kind of listen to customers. You kind of see what sells and what they don't like. And we started making lady sandals. And then men were coming in and they're like, well, hey, you make men's sandals? So we
knew the market, especially the market down here, is more for flip-flops.
Yeah, in the South, people wear flip-flops a lot.
It's not as much of a dressy type sandal. You're not going to get like a Gucci type men's sandal.
It's hot and it's humid down here, so everybody's wearing, the popular brands of flip-flops.
Yeah.
But everybody, but a lot of guys were like, hey,
So we tried to actually come up with a variation, kind of a merge between a flip-flop and make it made like a shoe. And that kind of backfired on us. So we actually have one of those. But when we started adding all the leather, a dress shoe, when you start putting a stacked heel in there and the leather is heavy. And so
what it was is we didn't want to go synthetic materials. So we were like, let's make it just like a good dress shoe. We'll just all leather, man. We'll put leather midsole, leather soles, leather uppers, leather straps. We'll stitch that sucker.
Yeah.
And man, the weight of that was so heavy, but we were so proud of our concept that we actually had them in our shop and we were selling those customers. And man, there were a few customers that came in and God bless their souls, they bought those things and they told us they liked them. But
there were actually a few, because I've talked to a few people since then, and we've asked them, like, hey, do you want to swap those out for a new one?
We felt so bad.
No way, I love my originals. And so you see, different strokes for different folks. But the vast majority of people were like, these are kind of heavy, and kind of being the creator, you sometimes get a little bit like taken back, like, how dare you?
Yeah.
But they're also the customer. You got to listen to the customer and you got to think outside the box.
Yeah,
don't get emotionally attached to the product.
Because we did. There were a few times we got emotionally attached to the product. We thought, it's a great concept, and
So Trent comes back one time. I remember, this is a funny story. Trent comes back and says, these things are way too heavy. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And he gets it and he throws it across the room and it puts a big hole in the drywall.
Yeah, I mean, it hit, and it was like, boom! It hit the drywall and put a hole right through it. And we all just kind of looked at it and we were like, yeah, they're too heavy. I mean, you might as well take a baseball bat and throw it. So that's when we said, back to the drawing board. Let's just go back to what's working out there. People want comfort. People want padding, people want arch support, and that's what we did. So we started adding all that to it, but we still want to make our sandals different. We still want to keep the traditional white stitching.
As much leather as possible,
yeah,
but also still have the comfort.
The comfort. So we just worked at it, listened to customers' feedback. We sold a ton of them around Nashville, and that's kind of where we're at today. So, going back to the sandals, and we've got a video coming on that as well, but we've sold so many, we just couldn't keep up with it as much here anymore. So we outsourced our men's flip-flops, still made exactly the same way to the T that Heath and I were making them here.
We cut them open.
As they come in, we'll cut some open, just make sure they're still doing it just exactly the same way we did.
Ladies are still made here.
Yeah, and then, to his point, so we start tweaking lady sandals too. We're still able to make those in our shop, which is another reason we're moving, because we just don't have the space to fulfill sandal orders in this little shop anymore. So where we at? So started selling sandals. The sandal brand started taking off. At that point, it just started getting too confusing for people here in Nashville, because we were called Southern Polished. This was not Potter & Sons, it was Southern Polished. And people would come in thinking they're going to buy sandals, and they would see it's a shoe repair shop. People would come in thinking it's a shoe repair shop, and they had sandals all in here. Way too confusing. So,
and because of search engines, we couldn't have two different
telephone
names
numbers.
And telephone numbers because of the address. It was just one building.
Like he was saying, we basically, Google wouldn't let us have the same address for both locations. So in order to make it simple, we decided to start two businesses: Potter & Sons Potter & Sons Shoe Artisans, or just Potter & Sons, kind of what we go by.
We were a retailer then for our sandals.
Yes,
so that's
good point. At the time, we were also selling our sandals in a lot of shoe stores and boutiques throughout the Southeast. Good point. So that was really confusing when people were Googling Southern Polished, and they're also pulling up a shoe repair shop. So that's when we said we're splitting the name. So a couple of years ago is when it turned into Potter & Sons. And we completely revamped Potter & Sons. We could now focus directly on making Potter & Sons the way we wanted to make it, which is high-end, luxury, only the best products, high-end shoe repair. And then Southern Polished would now officially be just our sandal brand. And it would have its own website, two different businesses, and that's kind of the switch in the name. And then we pulled out of retail stores. We decided that, they were wanting to sell our sandals for an obscene amount of money. They're probably worth that for the amount of work that goes into these things. But there's so many brands, as you guys know, going direct to consumer, that we said, let's just do the same. Let's bring our prices down. So a year and a half ago, I guess, we pulled out of shoe stores, and we went direct to consumer on our sandal brand. I guess that leads up to a year ago.
A year ago in spring.
A year ago, May of
We went down to 2 Februarys ago. We went down to Atlanta to the Menfluential that was hosted by Aaron Marino and Antonio from Real Men, Real Style.
So we met a lot of guys down there, like John Shanahan from the Cavalier, Raphael Schneider from
the Gentleman's Gazette.
A lot of big channel guys, and we got to meet those guys and talk to them.
We had plans of starting our own YouTube channel during that time, but we hadn't launched anything. We were just trying to get information about what's the best way to do it, so we were kind of picking their brains. We came back from the conference, and then probably within
so that was in February.
We launched our very first one.
So it was in February of 2019, and then we came back, and then we shot our very first video in May of May of that same month. So just over a year ago, we shot our first video, and then it was when John Shanahan from the Cavalier called and said, hey, I'm going to be down in Nashville. Would you guys want to shoot a video together? And for us, we had 20 subscribers at that point. And he had
thanks to our family members,
thanks family and friends for being the first. And so he came, and you can watch those videos, and those were the ones that John filmed. And I felt like Heath and I were so awkward. We were kind of like, I don't know how to do this. And but John was nice enough. He put those videos out there, and I remember us sitting down the street here at McAllister's one morning after church, and we were eating lunch with a family, and then all of a sudden I keep hearing ba-ding, ba-ding on my phone, and I look down, I just see our subscriber count just going crazy, and I was like, what in the world? And I looked through and I noticed that John had just posted that video, and a lot of people were leaving that video and coming over. So
he helped to give us our first boost.
yeah, so man, thank you guys, especially for you guys that have been with us from like, you know, when we were in the 10s to 20s. Thank you so much.
All this is possible because of y'all, so.
Yeah, so from that point on, I mean, we just, from May, June of last year until now, so in 1 year, our business has just boomed, and it's all because of you guys. And I mean, golly, it's just one of those things. I mean, look, I have like, you know, my hair on my arms is standing up right now because our lives have literally changed because of y'all. And I mean, it's just, we went from literally being like, okay, we have to get, we relied on just Nashville. And there were times, and I say this because
we say Nashville, it was more, even more central than that. It was kind of
Brentwood, because there's still some other shoe cobblers around Nashville, so they were pulling business away. So, you know, it's tough because I know we look at now and we're like, oh, things are doing really well, but I mean, we definitely had our times of it going up and down, and there were times where we literally looked at it and we were like, we quit our jobs to come be shoe cobblers, and there were times that it was tough for us.
Stressful for our wives as well.
Very stressful. I mean, yeah, even the wives were like, what in the world did you guys decide to do? And that's one of the reasons that we decided to do YouTube, because we came back from a time that we were way down here and we were scared. And it's that feeling that unless you've started your own business, sometimes you don't know what it feels like, but you've practically given up everything to put into this business. And we were down in this lull, and I just remember I said, we've got to start a YouTube channel. What are we out? Let's do it. So, man, when we started that channel and people started subscribing, Heath and I were just like, okay, we're going to start a channel that is going to be just teaching guys about shoes. And in the shoe shine business for a long time, and then Heath making shoes, we said, you know, I'm tired of all these guys bringing in inferior quality shoes. And then they asked, they're like, you know, can these be fixed? And I'm like, yeah, they can, but it's going to cost you, you know, twice the amount of shoe to fix it because it's just not that good of a quality shoe. And then they kind of look at me like, well, why didn't I know this? You know, what brands I wish I'd known. What brands do you recommend? And we heard that hundreds and hundreds of times. And that's when we said, you know what? We have too much knowledge about the shoe industry to not tell other guys, so let's start that YouTube channel. And that's kind of what we've tried to do this past year, is just, you know, tell you guys what the best products are. We're trying to team up with brands to send us shoes so that we can take them apart and tell you, you know, is it really worth your money for that brand? You know, which ones are the best? And, you know, take you behind the scenes to watch us do shoe repair. And you guys have apparently liked it, and our channel kind of exploded over the past year, and
you're fixing to see some more changes.
Yeah.
Y'all have basically, because of your viewership, you've basically kicked us out of our little home here, and we've moved to a new home.
Yeah.
And we're figured, hey, what's the best time to try to step up your video game? Then we'll just wait till we get into the new place. So I think hopefully the sound's going to be better, the visuals are going to be better, and also the content is going to be better. We've kind of been saying, how can we take our content to the next level as well? And so we've got some ideas, and I think it's going to really show a little bit more when we do a review. It's going to dive a little bit deeper into things.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to like it.
So yeah, like Heath said, you know, now we're just the point. We're going to start taking it up to next level. You guys send us ideas of what you would like us to talk about, what you would like us to, you know, discuss.
And a lot of those ideas that y'all send us, that goes into our brainstorming. So when we sit down, we start talking, we're like, I remember getting an email about this. So we do listen, and we do read these things, and we do think about them and try to implement a lot of these things.
So, you know, again, this channel is for you all. You have done so much to change our lives this past year. I wish I could thank every single one of you. I truly mean that. Our lives have completely changed in this past year, from just the amount of people that have sent business our way and purchased through our websites. And we cannot thank you all enough. And I truly, truly mean that from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much. So again, as we move into our new building, just tell us what you guys want to see, what questions you have, and Heath and I will definitely try to look bring as many videos that we can to you guys to help you out again in your shoe journey. We're going to be talking about more leather goods in upcoming videos, so we're going to start expanding a little bit. But we're excited.
Yeah.
We're super excited. We've seen the new place. It is built out. It is ready to go. And
we're ready for you to come along on the next leg of this journey.
yeah,
So.
it's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
So I hope that tells you guys a lot about our backgrounds. We tried to put as much out there as possible. So again, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We love all you guys. And, we look forward to you guys coming along to our next shop.
Yeah.
So until next time, guys, have a good day.